is now 6:04 on May 20th, 2025. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Board. The Planning Board is a 7-member board. Any special permit decision of this board requires a 2/3 vote. 2/3 of a 7-member board is 5. If only 5 members vote, the vote would have to be unanimous. Any decisions on preliminary and definitive plans, approval not required, and proposed zoning amendments requires a majority vote of the full board. Any decision on scenic road permits requires a majority of the quorum present. Any person giving testimony must state and spell their name and provide their street address for the record. All questions from the public should be directed through the chair. This meeting is live and streamed on Sandwich Community Television's website and on local channel 9. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on SCTV website at www.sandwichtv.org tomorrow. According to town bylaw, meetings are audio recorded. If anyone also intends to record, kindly notify the chair. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, so we'll start with some introduction of new board members. So we have, you go by Jack, correct? Jack Vitaco, welcome. And Julie Fox?
Yes.
Hi there,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll do board reorganization. So every 2 years we go through and we reorganize the chair and the vice chair on the board. So before we nominate some members, I'd like to just chat briefly about, and most of you know what the chair position entails and the vice chair position entails, but since we have a couple new members, I'll just add a little bit of detail. We typically do seniority is how nominations work, but I think in this particular instance, maybe we can turn to anybody who might be interested in participating as chair and offering kind of like a voluntary nomination. And then, if that's the case, we can kind of take it from there and do something similar with vice chair. So the chair position really oversees the meeting, kind of keeps everybody on track, guides everybody so that we stay on with the agenda, and just maintain a sense of decorum, I think, of the meetings, opening it, taking motions, taking roll calls, and that type of thing. So it's being present and being able to do that for the board. So with that, any questions, or does anybody have any interest in serving? And again, it's a 2-year. Yeah, please.
I just clarification. It's
Sure.
Because it's 1 year, and then you run for election again next year. You can only serve for 2 consecutive years. So if you decide to do it this year and you don't like it, you don't have to run next year. So you don't have to do the 2. But the bylaws are that you can only have 2 consecutive years.
2 consecutive
but it is,
years,
we do have, 1 year we did change the bylaw, but we had to change it back because it was in violation of the town charter. We have to vote every year, but you are allowed to run for 2 consecutive years. I encourage someone that's been on for a while to consider it. I've been chair in the past. Jennifer is our current chair. We survived it. I think it's a good experience.
It was a good experience.
You
Takes
learn a lot.
a little
You get to
while
work
kind
very
of
closely with
settle in.
the planning department, and you get to stand up at the town meeting and present warrant articles if you want.
Oh, you're really selling it.
No, there's a lot of support. You don't feel like you're out there alone. You get a lot of guidance from the planning department.
And you do learn a lot. I know I've learned a lot in the role personally, so I think for me it was a good experience, and I would recommend it if you're interested. And I don't know if I could serve again if nobody volunteers. I guess. Yeah, so I'm not able to, but I think that anybody else here would be an option. So,
as a new member, excuse me, Nicole, but as a new member of the planning board, I would defer because I just don't have the experience yet.
Very understandably so.
It has to. you would have to accept the nomination, even if we nominated, you don't have to, so.
I mean, Anne and I are obviously here, and we have the next amount of seniority, I would say. I am happy to serve as chair, and I would express my interest at this time. However, I would also
I'd like to second that motion.
kindly defer to Anne McManus, who, if she desires to be chair.
No, I think that's a great decision. Thank you.
Expressing my interest.
So we can vote then?
I nominate,
You have to be nominated. So.
yes. I nominate Nicole Ouellette to serve as chair.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
And now you get to nominate the vice chair.
Yes, and at this time, I would happily nominate Anne McManus to serve as vice chair, especially since you're very well equipped to be vice chair, and you and I have been working together on this board for a couple of years, and you understand I have some personal matters with my mother that I may call on you to be able to be available for the board.
I understand.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, congratulations.
Okay,
to
thank
both.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Congrats.
Okay, so then, we have authorized, we have the appointment and then signature sheet. Do you want us to?
We have the signature sheet for new members. Your signature gets sent to the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds and then also to Land Court so they can verify signatures on plans. And then typically the board votes to elect the chair and vice chair to sign all the plans and decisions on behalf of the board. Some documents only require a chair's signature, some require the full board's, depending. So if you would be willing to make a motion to authorize the chair and vice chair to sign plans and decisions on behalf of the planning board, that would be great.
I make a motion for the vice chair to be able to sign plans and motions of the planning board.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And then the signature sheet that goes around, that's in triplicate, one for the registry, one for Land Court, one for our records.
Yes.
The public notice.
Yeah.
For the public hearing notices, they have electronically, but I can put up on my screen.
Yeah, you can read it off the packet. It should be in the packet we sent. I don't think I have a printed version.
I didn't, that's okay, sorry. That's okay. I just didn't know if you had one like handy that you could like.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
Oh, here it is, I found it. Yep.
Thank you.
Seems empty.
Okay.
Okay. All right, with our signatures, let's move on to the next piece of the agenda, which is to review and approve the minutes. I hope the board has had an opportunity to review both of the meeting minutes from April 15th, 2025, as well as April 22nd, 2025. Is there any discussion or corrections that are needed? Okay, hearing none, I would ask the board to, I would ask for a motion to approve the
I
minutes.
make a motion to approve the minutes of April 15th and April 22nd, 2025.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions?
I abstained. I was not at the meetings.
Thank you. And let's, we'll move on to submission of new plans. I would ask the members of the public if there are any submissions for new plans at this time. Hearing none. Thank you. We'll move on to old business. I don't believe there's any old business at this time to discuss. So new business, the first item of agenda is the 36 Asa Meiggs Road, the cluster special permit with approval not required. That was submitted by LRME LLC. We'll start with the public hearing notice. The public hearing notice is as follows. The Sandwich Planning Board will hold a public hearing on the application of an LRME LLC, applicant and owner, for a cluster special permit with an approval not required land division for property located at 36 Asa Meiggs Road, Assessor's Map number 3, parcel number 48, in Sandwich, Massachusetts, for the purpose of creating a 3-lot cluster subdivision. The public hearing will be held on May 20th, 2025 at the Sandhill School Community Center, 16 Dewey Ave, Sandwich, Massachusetts at 6 p.m., now 6:15 p.m. The public record information can be viewed at the Planning and Development Office.
It's a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask the board for a motion to open the public hearing.
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And now we can move on to Steve, I think.
Quick description.
Great.
So this is, as described, subdivision of a parcel into 3 separate lots with some open space. It's in the R2 zoning district. One of the property lines is held in common with town Mashpee property around the southern property line. The site's nitrogen sensitive area and subject to Water Resources Overlay District Zone 2 Wellhead Protection Area. It's 6.86 acres, and the proposed subdivision is to subdivide into 3 lots, size 40,000 square feet each, with the remaining 17,856 square feet preserved as open space. Each lot has 50 square feet of frontage. There'll be some additional information in the staff memo to consider.
Do we have any comment memos to read into the record?
So under the 36 Asa Meiggs special permit file, they would all be listed there towards the end.
I think I have an engineering department.
Yep, there's one from Sam. Take the contact.
Is that the only one?
There's one from,
There's 4.
it's the,
There's a staff memo that I summarize. We'll have one from engineering from Sam who's here to support that if there are any questions.
I have hard copies if you want to read from them.
Okay, so here you're welcome to
Thank you.
enlarge it
That would
here.
be great.
Yeah, help yourself, you can do that and just enlarge it, they're all, don't touch.
I'm going to read all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can touch it, it might be easier just to. So this is, I'm asking for memos, and this is the response, so.
All right, so the first memorandum was received by the planning board May 16th of 2025. It was dated May 15th, 2025, the subject matter being the LRME LLC applications for cluster development. Engineering department has reviewed the subject applications and offers the following. This memorandum came from our town engineer, Sam Jensen. Item number 1, the demonstration plan received is low resolution and some portions are illegible. The plan is not adequate to support full review. It is recommended that the demonstration plan be submitted in a full size to scale format that clearly depicts all lines, annotations, and other features. Item 2, it is not clear that Lot 1 shown on the cluster special permit demonstration plan meets zoning requirements for lot frontage and lot area. The May 2024 zoning bylaw definition of lot area states, in part, no part of the lot area employed for zoning compliance shall be more distant from the street line than 4 times the lot frontage. And the bylaw defines lot frontage as that portion of a lot fronting upon a street, measured continuously along the street sideline between side lot lines, or in the case of corner lots, between one side lot line and the midpoint of the corner radius. For lots on the outside of a curve whose radius is 120 feet or less, the lot frontage may be reduced at the street line to 60% of the required lot frontage, provided that the full required frontage can be met at the front building line. It appears that this continues the memorandum from Sam Jensen. It appears that the lot frontage for lot 1, being a corner lot, may either be defined as 103.71 feet along Asa Meiggs Road plus half the corner arc, or 96.98 feet along the subdivision road plus half the corner arc. The zoning requirement for minimum lot frontage of 200 feet or 120 feet on the outside of a qualifying curve does not appear to be met. The Lot 1 zoning compliance area is estimated to be between 450 feet and 766 feet from the closest point of the lot frontage. 4 times the lot frontage using the longer option is estimated to be approximately 415 feet, and the entirety of the compliance area appears to be well outside of that. Additionally, it is not clear that the lots benefiting from the allowed frontage reduction on the outside of a qualifying curve satisfy the requirement that full required frontage can be met at the front building line. Given this, it is not clear that this plan demonstrates that 3 conventional conforming lots could be created from this parcel. It is noted that the plan submitted with the Form A application for endorsement of plan believed not to require approval is titled as a definitive plan of land with a planning board signature block stating that approval under the subdivision control law is required. It is advised that this apparent conflict be addressed. And then it does state, please contact the engineering department with any questions regarding this. Okay, on May, and then we did receive an email at the planning department from Andrew Mandel of the Sandwich Fire Department and Fire Prevention, and the Sandwich Fire Department has no comment on this request at this time. Third, we have a memorandum submitted from David DeCanto, Director of Natural Resources, that was dated May 5th, 2025, with regard to 36 Asa Meiggs Road Cluster Special Permit. The Conservation Commission has reviewed the application for the above listed special permit at 36 Asa Meiggs Road and does not have any issues or comments. Please let me know if you have any further questions or require additional information. And that memorandum was copied to Conservation Commission. And then finally, we have a memorandum addressed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the Town of Sandwich from Heather Gallant, the Director of Public Health, on May 13th, 2025, regarding the Health Department comments. This memorandum provides the Health Department's comments regarding the cluster special permit with an approval not required land division at 36 Asa Meiggs Road in Sandwich, Mass, LRME, LLC. The proposed plans submitted indicate that the land is to be subdivided into 3 lots. This property is located in a nitrogen-sensitive area, and individual lots are limited to 1 bedroom per 10,000 square feet of lot space. The proposed building permit plans must also reflect the appropriate number of bedrooms as defined in Title V. Septic system permits must be applied for separately and match the number of bedrooms on the building permit application. This lot is being subdivided after April 17th, 1983, so the applicant would need to show 150-foot separation from all wells and all leaching facilities, along with maintaining all other required setbacks per Title V and Sandwich Board of Health regulations on the individual lot plans for the septic system permit applications. If municipal water becomes available, properties must connect. If municipal sewer becomes available, properties must connect. Please contact the Sandwich Health Department with any questions or further clarification. That, I believe, completes all submitted memorandum.
So to sum up with the staff report, the plan submitted, the A&R plan is not fully compliant because of the shape factor, which is what Sam's discussion alluded to in terms of some of the criteria and measurements there. We also have A&R plan that's labeled as definitive, which is not the case at this point in the process. And the draft open space restriction, we did receive a draft of that by email, which we forwarded forward. The applicant's representative is here to address questions.
At this time, could we hear from, I believe, Jonathan, are you here on this, Matt?
I appear on this, yes.
Would you like to provide the board with some...
May I address you? I'm John Fitch. I represent the applicant, LRME. The application before you, the process is a two-step process under your bylaw, and it all is founded on a so-called demonstration plan that would show the number of lots to be divided on this site. You've heard the memos from your staff, and I'm here to concede that apparently there were a couple of errors made in the original demonstration plan. They are curable, and we fully intend to do that, but it would be a waste of your time. It would be wrong for us to want to proceed tonight based on the demonstration plan that is part of the record at this time. So I would like to reassure the board that this will work, and our engineer is going to correct the demonstration plan. I would like to continue the matter until your next meeting. I mean, the correction is simple enough that it's actually done. It's just not here. While we're here and the hearing is open tonight, I would like to at least address the subject of the final plan, the 3-lot division plan, and the open space. If you note in your package, the open space is connected to adjacent open space, which is a very unusual situation. It's a good situation, and it argues in favor of ultimately approving this open space. But in any of the comments that have been made, I did not hear that there was any objection to the division plan for 3 lots. May I assume that is correct? That plan, on the assumption that we can do 3 lots, has been scrutinized and approved? Because you would have, I'm thinking you would have addressed it in your comments, especially Sam. And I don't recall there was any criticism of the 3-lot plan. And by the way, he's exactly correct on the demonstration plan.
What about the issues that came up from the health department?
The health department has its own health rules, and they're not subdivision rules. I think it's good advice to understand, but I don't see that it has any relevancy to our work before this board.
In order to receive a building permit, they would have to meet all of their Title V requirements. Okay. So those are almost just like a precursor to the applicant prior to receiving a building permit.
Can I just ask a question on the frontage with the plan? There's the open space, 10 foot of open space in between each lot, and
yes.
And then the open space has frontage, and I'm just kind of wondering if that could be utilized and what the purpose and thought was behind that.
Well, under the bylaw, there's no there's no development of that site, of the open space site permitted. I suppose you could do a recreational feature of some sort under the bylaw, but there's actually no purpose to that whatsoever.
Oh, so
I
it's
would-
just the design.
Yeah, if you look at the zoning book, it doesn't address the issue of strips between the lots. If you look at your regulations, there is a suggestion that says that open space may be used to buffer the building sites and may be 50 feet in width. I've seen these things in the past, and I don't see where any strip between the lots serves any open space objective or purpose. I would rather see that added to the larger open space lot. But I need to know from the board that you do not interpret the language of your regulations to require a strip. It's a very strange place to find that, and I'm sorry I don't have it right with me. Do you have the regulations?
I have a copy of it.
A copy up in there?
Yeah, if you could, regulation.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
1B3 address is titled Open Space. And it says portions of the open space may be utilized to provide a buffer zone of no less than 50 feet in depth between proposed lots and any adjacent existing residential lots not within the development. So it's not compulsory. It says may be utilized. And now that we're going back to
Thank you so much.
to be.
Not within the cluster.
So let me ask you this, you're interpreting that to mean that it is discretionary and not mandatory?
I would interpret it that way.
But if it was created, then no less than,
Then it must be no less than 50 feet.
I don't see any detriment in having it be less than 50 feet, but I just think that the way that this is worded, it may be utilized to provide a buffer zone of no less than 50 feet in depth between the proposed lots. And I don't know what the purpose of the 50 feet, like why wouldn't they allow less than? And if it is less than,
On our plan, it is, but nobody pointed out that that was a violation of anything. But when I read what our engineer did by making, I think it's roughly 20 feet, 25 feet, my preference would be to erase it and add it to the bulk of the open space.
yeah,
And I just wanted to make sure that there was no prior interpretation with the board that said that's not the right thing to do.
yeah, I was just curious on the thought process behind even adding, I get maybe, maybe adding the buffer of 10 feet, perhaps that was the reason, but then it does widen out in one section to 60 feet of frontage on the open space. And I'm just curious, is the thought process behind that? Why wouldn't that just be added to the lots? Because it widens there had to be a.
It's the way the bylaw is written. The frontage can only be 50 feet on a cluster lot.
Oh, only, so it can't exceed it.
And that's why you see,
Oh, so that's, okay, I didn't know it couldn't
if you
exceed it.
if you look at the last time I was involved in this, I think the subdivision was called Rock Hill. It's up Chipman Road. And it has these little strips running throughout it, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
While we're revisiting these plans, my preference would be to erase it. And I think it would be much more useful added to the larger, the bulk.
okay.
of the open space.
So it looks like that 10 feet was intended so that you could reduce the frontage, and that's why. So the purpose is really to get that frontage in line with the cluster. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
It's-
a helpful explanation. I was just trying to.
Perhaps just put it on your to-do list. You might want to look at the way the bylaw is written, because it seems kind of silly that you have to have the 50 feet. It may be appropriate in some cases, it's not in many. And if you look at the Rock Hill plan, you say, why did they do this?
Yeah.
And I'll bet you don't find any open space in that strip area. Well, that's good. I would like to assume that
You can't assume anything. You have to meet the requirements. You've heard from some board members, all the board members haven't said anything. I'm not telling you, I've got to review stuff. What I will share with you, you must meet requirements. If you don't want to meet requirements, come forward with your explanation, your request for waivers.
we want to meet requirements.
Okay.
We're not here to not meet requirements. I'm saying, I'm looking at this language, your staff didn't pick up the issue, and I wanted to address it because I don't think it's compulsory. It's optional, and the word is may. So the applicant would like to bring forward a plan that has no little buffer zone between the lots.
If I may,
And my point
in
to
compliance.
you is when you bring that forward, as long as it's compliant, you're okay. And if it's not compliant, come forward with a request for a waiver. That's how it works.
so I
Very
think,
good.
I think at this time it might be helpful to get some input from Mr. Jensen.
Just a couple of quick things. Just late in our review, it didn't make it into the comment memo. There was two items. One was a relatively minor technical item. This had to do with the electronic submission, the CAD file that they sent, which was sent in compliance, which is well received. It's just the units were off. So that's something we need to just clarify with the applicant's engineer. And then two, the department's preference on for a residential subdivision like this on a main road is to have utilize common driveways where practical. It's not a requirement, it's a preference. We would encourage it to have fewer curb cuts on the road itself. I understand it introduces some complexities on the applicant side. However, I would suggest that it be considered. It can help in terms of traffic safety on the road itself. We don't disagree with the interpretation of the open space regulations, though, the way that that is worded. It appears to be a permissive regulation.
Right, thank you. Are there any other questions from the board of Mr. Fitch?
Not of Mr. Fitch. I do have one of the planning department staff.
Okay.
Can I ask it now?
Yes, yes, would you like to ask questions? of
My
the
first
planning
official
department?
comment as a planning board member, I just wanted to go on record as saying that I think that these strips between lots are pointless. They really don't seem to serve much purpose at all, and in practice, the property will be occupied across that. And I would much rather see a larger area of land being set aside as open space wherever possible, rather than having these
Small
little
portions.
strips. I also wanted to say that, it is well and good that we can talk about the ability of the lot to be divided into 3 lots, but until that demonstration plan has been presented, it's really a little premature to lock.
I agree. I agree. Thank you. I appreciate being able to take advantage of the time. It was an advertised meeting, and like I say, this is unfortunate that it happened. It was only picked up at the 11th hour, and I would ask that we be continued
To the next meeting?
until the next meeting.
And then
June 3rd? Yes, so I would ask the board.
As indicated, I have a question
For the department.
on this, before we close it.
My apologies, Jeff. I do remember that you had requested that. So at this time, if
I have a
Mr.
question,
Fisher,
well, the process, trying to understand the process. Put clusters aside for a minute. If this was an A&R coming to us to create 4 lots, one called open space, the other called 3 lots, but if it was an A&R coming to us, the A&R, we would look at it, primarily we would look at it for frontage and accessibility. Under that, and I'm trying to relate to Sam's comment about the 200-foot frontage. What is the frontage requirement if this was just an A&R for each lot?
If it was an A&R, we would not be looking at it for zoning compliant frontage. We would be looking at access, topography, sloping,
Right.
and all of those elements. We wouldn't be looking at lot sizes, required frontage for the district, any of those things. We would just be saying whether it requires to put in a roadway for a subdivision or it does not. But then all of them on the plan would have to state not building lots, because none of them in this configuration.
That's where I said it. As an A&R, if they wanted buildable lots, it would have to be the 200.
Yes.
Is that why you have this in there, Sam? I was trying to understand why you wrote the 200 when the requirement's only 50 for cluster. That's where I was getting confused.
Right, it's under it's review of the demonstration plan. So demonstrating that lots laid out conventionally, so not taking advantage of the lesser requirements of the open space geometry with the 50 feet of frontage that's allowed there.
Okay. Right, so it doesn't meet that, but it does meet the cluster, as I understand it, for frontage, for buildable lots.
Correct.
Is that a correct finding?
That is a correct finding.
Okay.
And if this were to come before you as an approval not required, you would have been rejecting it tonight anyways due to the typos that are on it. It states it's a definitive plan, it states those items. So it wouldn't be something that you would be endorsing tonight if it came through separately.
So the fact that it comes through as an A&R and a special permit, it's that combination that would allow it to go forward. Is that correct? Am I understanding the process correctly?
That's correct.
Okay.
It would have to look a little bit different if it was just a straight A&R that was coming to you without the cluster special permit.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. Thanks, Sam. That's my only question.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question of the planning department? Okay. And so I did hear that Mr. Fitch would like to have the board continue this discussion to the next planning board meeting. So
Yes.
this time I would take a motion.
Take a motion to continue to June 3rd, 6 o'clock, Sandhill School.
I second the motion to continue this to June
Someone
3rd.
needs to make
take a
a
motion.
motion.
She can't make one.
That's okay.
Sorry, I'm new.
You're fine.
Yeah, I don't think so. So someone has to move.
I move.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting
Thank
will be continued to June 3rd at 6 p.m. at 16 Dewey Avenue in Sandwich. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fitch.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this item's over until June 3rd.
Okay, we're done.
Or should we?
Well, no, nothing was presented. You can do it next time.
He's continuing the presentation. Okay.
Yeah. It's up to the chair.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Wow. I'm learning, everyone. All right. On that note, let's move on to the next agenda item under new business, which is 85 Route 6A, approval not required. This is the Cape Cod 5 cent savings bank for the purpose of land conveyance. So just to note, this is not a public hearing. And I believe Steve has an overview for the board.
Number summary, Take two, so here we go.
Okay.
So for Cape Cod 5 Cent Savings Bank at 85 Route 6A, it's an approval not required plan. As a precursor to conveyance of the property at that site, it's in a BL1 zoning district. The bank's currently operating there. The existing lot consists of 211,212 square feet with 435.52 feet of frontage on Route 6A and 100.07 feet of frontage on Tupper Road. The applicant proposes the following division of land. Create one new building lot on the southeastern corner of the parcel consisting of 43,823 square feet with 173.81 feet of frontage on Route 6A, and the remaining area of the original lot to be 167,384 square feet with frontage on Route 6A, reduced to 261.71 feet of frontage on Tupper Road, remaining unchanged. So the frontage on Route 6A is reduced to 261.71 feet, and the Tupper Road frontage is unchanged. We believe the two lots that are proposed to be created would be buildable, and again, there are staff memos with additional comments about the planning specifications.
And I will read Sam Jensen's. Thank you. Okay. So the town engineer, Sam Jensen, had submitted a memorandum dated May 16th with regard to the application for endorsement of plan believed not to require approval, parcel 87-077, 85 Route 6A, Cape Cod 5 Cents Savings Bank. The engineering department has reviewed the subject application and offers the following. Item 1, the plan generally conforms with the planning board subdivision rules and regulations, section 3A, plans believed not to require approval under the subdivision control law, exception of 3.A.2 small b, names of all owners abutting the land is established from the most recent tax list. The plan misidentifies abutting property 78 Tupper Road as lot 78. It is listed as lot 76 on tax map 87, which is parcel 87-076. 3.A.2 small c, all existing buildings within 100 feet of any newly created boundaries, including setbacks, side and rear yard designations. 3.A.2 small I, sufficient topographic, thank you. Wow. Delineation, including existing streams and bodies of water, shall be shown on the plan or a separate plan to allow the board to determine if the lots have adequate access. 3.A.2 small k, the plan shall be at a scale of 1 inch equals 40 feet. Plan sheets shall not exceed 24 inches times 36 inches. The plan shall show a north arrow. 3.A.2 small m, the plan shall show the location of public or private wells and septic systems on all abutting properties. And then item 2, on that memorandum, it is noted that this A&R plan is submitted subsequent to a special permit issued by the Sandwich Zoning Board of Appeals for the property. This proposed A&R plan lot configuration appears to be consistent with the approved plans under that special permit. Given this, it may be reasonable for the board to consider waiving the requirements of articles small c, small I, small k, and m listed above. The department recommends that the abutting lot ID for 78 Tupper Road be addressed. I think that's the only memo to read into the record. So at this time, I would ask to open the matter to the applicant, who is present, I believe.
Yes,
Would you like to introduce yourself?
No one left here. Yeah, I'm Dan McKenzie from Horsley White and Group.
All right, and Dan, if you could just come up to the table. Thank you.
So we're seeking endorsement of the A&R plan. Horsley White, to this point, has designed a new building for Community Health Center of Cape Cod. We've permitted through Conservation Commission. We've permitted through the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I also believe we've permitted through the Cape Cod Cape Cod Commission. So we've addressed the one thing that Mr. Jensen has pointed out, that we made an error on the lot number, so that's been corrected here on the Mylar. So I'm seeking your endorsement on that.
And it looks like you added the names too. The names of the abutters. Is that on the plan here, Continental Capital Partners, and it has.
Yeah.
And then Sandwich Water District on the westerly side.
Yeah, I think we have the names.
Yeah.
It was just a,
Okay.
yeah, it was just a lot number we had wrong,
The thing it was mentioned.
so. yeah,
Oh, it was just that. Oh, I
it was
see the
just a-
small
yeah,
bullet.
we
Yep.
made the lot number the same as the street
Got it.
number.
Okay.
Thank you. Sam, would you like to be heard on?
Really, there's the technical requirements of the subdivision rules and regulations, which go beyond the A&R requirements of state law at the board's discretion. And oftentimes, these are very helpful for the board to consider, like things like the topographic features for considering lot frontage and viable access. In this case, though, my understanding is that this particular project has been thoroughly vetted, and it would seem very reasonable to waive those requirements.
And does the board have any comments or questions for the applicant or for Sam or the planning department? Jeff?
So Sam, you said waive C-I-K, oh, you did say yeah, okay. So just B had to be addressed. One question I have, and it's probably obvious, but I want to ask it. So the current configuration, and I'll show you the picture of what I mean. There's a parking lot and the street goes behind it.
Yeah.
And, that gives the parking, gives the bank access, people from Tupper Road.
Right, it's connected to Tupper.
And I take it, it doesn't, the drawing doesn't show that existent roadway and parking lot. But I take it, it's probably right on the boundary of this new lot that you made?
I've actually got, if you care to look at it, I've got the zoning board of appeals site plan that was approved. I have that here. If you
Yeah,
want to see that.
if that shows it, it'd be great.
This lot, Jeff, will also be serviced through that existing curb cut. They will not be presenting a new curb cut to access that site. They're going off of the Cape Cod 5 one and then
Okay.
A2. Yeah. It was part of their development of regional impact decision with the Cape Cod Commission.
So here's Route 6A. Here's the current entrance into
Right.
the bank. This is our proposed site here. This is the boundary lines that we're looking at.
Okay.
And then this shows the driveway that comes up from Tupper. Doesn't show the entirety though.
No, this is what I was curious,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
It definitely stays clear of that.
Okay, great.
This is the 100-foot buffer from the wetland, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. That's the only question I had.
Are there any other questions from the board?
No feedback from the planning department? Okay. So at this time, I would ask for a motion, correct?
Motion to endorse.
Yep. The A&R. And at the, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the A&R presented to us by the Cape Cod Five.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, hearing none. And the A&R requires our signature.
Just the chair can sign Mylar and Sharpie and then the prints and pen.
Now it should look just like my other signature, right? Which is usually not great.
Yes, you're signing here. the 20th. And then there should be some prints. We like to keep one on file so that we have a signed copy.
I brought two, is that sufficient?
Two of them? Oh, yeah. Yep, two, please, yeah. Just do that. Oh, that's another Mylar. Oh, so we need one Mylar. Do you have two prints? No? Just one?
I thought I had two prints and one Mylar. I gave you.
Okay, so we'll keep that print and we'll give you the Mylar.
So I'll hold on to one Mylar.
Yeah, you can take both Mylars. We wouldn't need those, but I'm just gonna keep that print.
This is a print.
Oh, these, oh, so then, oh, the Mylar's down here. Okay.
It looked like a Mylar, yeah.
Yeah.
It was me too.
Okay, there we
Okay, so
go.
you have the prints, I have the Mylar.
Perfect.
And I don't need to send them.
You need to send the Mylar. Yes, yeah, yeah. That's the.
You're taking it, so I thought you
One
knew
that goes to the
probably.
registry.
Yeah, it's ultimately gonna be.
That's the
recorded.
important one.
Yeah, oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sharpie.
Sometimes it comes off the plotter after
All right, thank you. We can move on to the next item of business. Great. Okay, so up for board discussion this evening, we have a request for comment, number 25-05, 98 Town Neck Roads, a special permit.
Yeah, this is just what the special permit is, and you can open it up.
Okay, sorry. All right, at this time, I would open it up to Steve, if you could provide some background and overview.
I can. So this is a request for a special permit for, it's actually placement of a generator in the floodplain at 98 Town Neck, which is the Treehouse Brewery. Yep, that's Mr. Thomas. Just looking for one piece of information here. Just one moment, please. Okay, so the purpose of the special permit is because the placement of the generator intensifies a non-conforming setback. It's placed on the road near Town Neck. Is it existing there? This is after fact filing. That's the nature of the petition.
Oh, so it's already there, that's what you're saying, yeah.
Okay.
Have there been any complaints about this
I had
sound or anything
Two
like
calls
that?
about this hearing. Neither was a complaint.
Neither was a complaint? Okay.
No, it generally happened through the building department when they submitted their permit to place their generator. It was on the other side of the property. They were approved to do so. Then when upon inspection, an electrical inspection realized it was right on the roadway. So at that point, the building official felt that it was appropriate that they get a special permit for intensifying that non-conforming setback. And then so we could check site distances too, as it is on a corner and it kind of protrudes.
Do they offer an explanation why they put it in a different place?
I don't believe so.
Is there any barrier around it?
I don't believe so.
Yes,
There is.
yeah, if you look at the picture, there's, when I looked at the picture, I saw,
The gravel?
It looks like.
no, I
there's
saw,
some kind of-
I saw like one of those things,
You're requesting to place bollards.
I saw the, like you see on the highway to stop cars, so.
Right, right here.
Oh, there it is, yeah,
Yeah. The Kohler Industrial, yeah.
whatever that's
I
called.
thought you meant screening.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a screen.
Yes, yeah.
No shrubbery.
Excuse me, this is a standby generator, is it? It's not making noise constantly, it's just something that would be able to power the building in the event of an outage, is it?
That's my understanding. I didn't get into the purpose of it.
Yeah, I'm actually not 100% sure.
Is that something that the board would want to know? Or need to know?
I was just thinking along the lines of sound, but it sounds like that would be, if there's been no complaints, I mean.
If you wanted to make that comment, the zoning board could take that up with the applicant at their hearing.
It might be a foolish question. I mean, generators are typically used for that purpose. You know, you don't normally run it if you don't need to.
Right, yeah,
Just curious.
it is a bit slightly.
That would be my comment. It would be nice if it had some kind of a screening.
Like
shrubbery
Or at least an
in front of it.
explanation, if
Shrubbery,
there was like
something.
a decent explanation for not abiding by what they were permitted to do.
I'm sure the building official knows a little
Right,
bit more
yeah,
than maybe
I'm sure.
than I did, and they typically attend the zoning board meetings,
Yeah.
the building commissioner, so,
That's would be in their purview, but
yeah.
no comment.
So are there any other comments from the board? And hearing none.
No, it's just, if you don't wish to make a comment, then.
Well, I want to make a comment about the screening. I think there should be screening. I mean, this is Cape Cod. It should be more attractive.
I think that's a fair comment.
So we need, if we're gonna send a comment forward, we need to have agreement.
I would agree to that.
I don't agree. It's out of our purview. I don't think we should be commenting on it.
So from a aesthetic perspective and planning, and would that be, what would, from your perspective, would that be outside of our role to bring that type of a comment forward from, you know, neighborhood planning and that type of a situation? Because like when we did like the solar, for example, we spent a significant amount
Right.
of time on the housing of the unit there and the color of it. We had a fair amount of conversation on that. I feel like this kind of aligns a bit.
When a permit is before a board, that board has a little bit more leeway to negotiate some of those conditions with an applicant. So it's something that the zoning board could do. So I guess it would be up to the planning board whether you feel it's appropriate to move that forward to the zoning board or whether you feel like it's not appropriate. You know, it's up to you as a board. It's a difficult question to say whether it's in your purview or not in your purview. It's in your purview in very specific areas of the zoning bylaw, and then in other areas it's referenced under the zoning board of appeals. So
it could-
quasi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, then I don't think it's hurtful to mention it. I'm sure that they'll probably address what they feel necessary, but I don't think it's harmful to
I
bring.
don't think it'll go anywhere. I mean, it's not like the Route 6A commission where you have to paint your house a certain color or anything. It's there, it's been there, we're just getting the permit because they didn't before, or
It was moved,
That's an
right?
interesting.
So-
That's an interesting question, though. Did this have to go before the historic district commission for? It is in the historic district.
We don't typically send utilities to the Historic District Commission. Their main purpose is structures. So we've always taken a stance that a utility box or AC units or anything of that nature doesn't trigger relief.
And it sounds like they had permission to put it in a different location and they didn't adhere to that and then put it in another location without permission, and now we're seeking forgiveness. So I think with that in mind, I think it's okay to mention the aesthetic of it, at least is, you know, it's a residential area.
Right, and we don't know the reason, right, of why they did move it from a different location that had been.
I'm not privy to it. I mean, I'm sure there was a legitimate reason as to why it was cited there, but unfortunately I don't have that information.
And we don't know for sure if it's like a backup generator. I mean, I understand obviously they're likely used for that purpose. They do have to like basically, you know, do a reset, right, regularly. And if we haven't had any noise complaints that we're aware of.
Typically zoning violation complaints come through the building department, so not that we know of.
So it sounds like some of the board members do wish to put forth a comment regarding the aesthetics, or also specific to some kind of barrier, or what did you call it?
Screening.
A screening. Is there a consensus for that? There would need to be a consensus among the board.
You should vote on sending that comment forward. and it would need to carry for us to send it forward. The motion should carry.
By a majority.
Yes.
Make a motion that we put forth the comment that the owners of the property put a screening around the generator that they've installed.
I second.
And this is a recommendation, so there has been a motion and a second by members of the board to put in a screening. All those in favor?
Nicole,
Yes.
I think that what you just said is very important. It should be in the motion, though, that it's only a recommendation, that we're deferring to the zoning board of appeals, but it's the opinion of the board that this is something that they should discuss.
Yes, okay, thank you. So I understand that. Let's make a clarification of the motion that's before the board.
And so typically that's how we phrase it. We never phrase it to the board as an enforcement. We always phrase it as, this is what the planning board would like you
Recommend.
to. Yes, exactly. So we would never,
Nicely.
yeah.
Or perhaps even suggest for consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we want to, right? We don't have to, I mean, we're not certainly in a position to require of them, but we can make
A recommendation.
a recommendation. Okay, so the motion that's before the board is to recommend to the zoning board that some type of screening be considered, right, around the generator, given the nature of the generator being moved to a more public site. And is there a second? There was a second by Ms. Rosig. So if all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Opposed.
So 4-2. Comment, we'll drop that comment.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, under board discussion, request for comment, 25-06, 39 and 41 Wood Avenue, special permit request, the Gatesman Family Trust, Andrew Gatesman and Christine Gatesman as trustees. And Steve, would you like to give us an overview?
Sure, can do. So this is a parcel on Town Neck. It's not in the floodplain. It's 39 to 41 Wood Avenue. It's 10,000 square foot lot with 100 foot of frontage. There's a current structure on the lot that's 979 square feet based on the assessor's records. It was built in 1957. They're proposing to demolish that, build a larger structure that would increase non-conforming nature of the lot. New structure would change the setbacks, reducing them but making them roughly equivalent to the average of setbacks on adjacent parcels. It's projected to increase the non-conforming nature of the lot to 154% because the new structure is 2,488 square feet. So the lot coverage is increased significantly, but still projected to be less than the 25% limit on lot coverage in R1 where the building is located. It also entails an increase in bedroom count from 2 to 4 bedrooms.
Are there any comments from the members of the board?
As long as it meets, Title V requirements with the septic system, which I'm sure will be addressed.
And this is outside of the flood zone, did you say?
It is, yes.
Are there any other comments from the board or questions? Sounds like the board has no comments to put forth with regard to 25-06, 39 and 41 Wood Avenue. Okay, and then finally, the last request for comment is number 2507, 331 Phillips Road, a special permit by Peter C. and Janice H. Sull, trustees of the Sull Family Realty Trust.
Okay, Okay, so this property is definitely in the flood zone. It's velocity zone elevation 16. It's been reviewed by the Conservation Commission. Still has other steps to go in the permitting process. It's a 15,000 square foot parcel with 75 foot of frontage on Phillips Road. Applicant's looking to demolish an existing 736 square foot house that was built in 1952 and construct a new 2,256 square foot 4-bedroom dwelling together with a number of decks and amenities to go with it. Special permits required for major construction in the floodplain, increasing an existing nonconformity of 30% or more, and for placement of fill below the base flood elevation.
This has been reviewed by the Conservation Commission already?
There's an order of conditions, yeah.
An order of conditions, is that what you said? Does anyone else have a comment? Would you like to suggest that the planning board put forth a specific comment?
If there's additional details you're interested in, it does, because of the substantial rebuild is being elevated up on piles. So there's restoration proposed on the dune on the Phillips Road side of the structure. And the fill is required to fill the void that's going to be left by the concrete basement.
I don't believe there's any other comments. Just a massive house. Okay. Hearing none, then the board doesn't wish to put forth any comments.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you for everyone's patience. So now we will address any other matters, right? Not reasonably anticipated.
I just had one. I just wanted to notify the board that at your next meeting, June 3rd, we will have zoning amendments on that. As staff, we are looking for direction from the board as to what you would like us to start drafting and discussing and holding public hearings on. We don't know this early in the game whether we're going to have a special town meeting in the fall or not, but at least we could maybe start preparing early for annual town meeting or special town meeting. And there's a number of items that we've been thinking of that we could address with the board and get some direction, including but not limited to. I know we have some stormwater regulations that we need to update through zoning. Our short-term rental bylaw failed, so we'd love to start the effort here with the planning board again, and then bring it to the select board. That might take a year-long effort, so that may more likely be annual town meeting. We should take a look at accessory homes, whether it's another accessory building, whether it's multiple principal dwellings on one lot. We can take a look at those. We have been running into issues with clear cutting. We would like to make our zoning bylaws a little more clear regarding clear cutting on lots without permits, just to preserve our treescape as best as possible. And so we can talk about that at your next meeting. Our cluster regulations might need a little bit of updating. That wouldn't require town meeting approval. And then we have a conditional density development affordable housing bylaw that does not work. And we might want to take a look at it. But all those things we can present at the next meeting to you and get some direction. There's a lot there, so from which you would like us to undertake in this year.
I think there has been a lot of discussion in public forums about like an alternative ADU or addressing the multiple dwellings. So I think that would be a priority that I see for the board.
Just to be careful under other matters, we can't be too definitive or make any decisions. It's really just an update,
Okay.
Because it's not listed as an agenda topic at this time.
Can I ask if there's been any more permits under the by right, under the matters not reasonably anticipated, just from an informative standpoint?
Yeah, from February 2nd, we've maybe 4 have come before us for the by right, and they're going through their permitting process. Yeah.
Can I ask that for our future meetings, we just be updated just so we can see, the people taking advantage or not of that bylaw, just to have some information? That would be great.
Absolutely, and we are starting to see Those that did their ADU bylaw at special town meeting, the Attorney General's office asked for extensions on all of those past the 90 days that they're supposed to submit comments. We're starting to see those come back. We're starting to see a lot of them disapproved for elements they wanted to put in.
Can you share those with us?
Yes, so I can share those with the board so you can see what the Attorney General approved and did not approve.
Great.
For the accessory dwelling unit
I have one
bylaws.
question. Is there any update on Astrid Lane or Astrid Road?
There is not, we have not received, no,
Just curious.
and that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
I have one item.
Yes.
And Leanne can help me with this a little if I get it wrong. The governor signed at the end of March the extension on the remote participation that was put in place for COVID. So it's been extended out until 2027, which allows remote participation by board members, and allows that to move forward. And I had gone in and talked to Leanne and Steve about this, make sure I understand it correctly. And the reason for that at the time was we had 2 open slots, which no one had taken our papers on. I was concerned that we'd only have 5 members, and as you saw, a special permit requires 5. So I was concerned that may have to use remote participation quite a bit. As it turns out, fortunately, we had 2 members come in and to write in, so that's great. I did want to also mention, because I am planning to utilize it, I have to be in Ohio quite a bit in June and July for family, and therefore I will be participating remotely. I'm going to look at the agenda and decide and so forth. I will be participating at the next one remotely, June 3rd. And is that, when we participate remotely, is it only audio, or is it, do we also get video?
It's supposed to be audio and video. It works every time for the Zoning Board of Appeals, and it fails every time for the Planning Board on the alternating Tuesday when I try to use Zoom here. So when I know it's scheduled ahead of time, I will have someone from IT here to troubleshoot any problems that we may have, because that's what I do for the Zoning Board meetings, and someone comes and makes sure it works. So you should be able to see, it comes through this camera, you will see a full board, and you should be able to see if I share the screen.
And
So I
We
will be,
Will we see Jeff?
We'll see Jeff right up here.
Okay.
I will be remote for the next meeting.
Thank you for letting us know.
No other.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If no other matters, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
And a second.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.